History Month, we're focusing today on a research trailblazer. When Lydia Via Kamarov became a molecular biologist, she says almost no one around looked like her. Now, 50 years later, she's still encouraging female and minority students to take a chance on a career in science. The Fox Medical Team's Beth Galvin is here with her story, Beth.
And Christine Via Kamarov is now 75 years old. She's still working, and she says she is proud of what she's accomplished in her career, but she's also really proud of being a mentor. Lydia Via Kamarov discovered science when she was about 9, growing up in a big Mexican family in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
I'm not sure I knew what a scientist was, but it was something that intrigued me.
Her parents were the first in their families to go to college. Her dad, the first to graduate from high school.
I don't ever remember them sitting down and saying, you will go to college, but it permeated everything we did. And I think the other really important factor was that I felt that if I didn't leave New Mexico, I would get stuck there. And science was a way of thinking about a way out.
Via Kamarov went to college, became a molecular biologist, got married, and found herself rising in a research field where almost no one looked like her.
But the main thing is, if you really love it, then you should find a way to do it.
In the early 1970s, she says there were fewer than about 20 Mexican-American researchers in academia. So Via Kamarov and a handful of other researchers founded the Society for the Advancement of Chicanos and Native Americans in Science, or SACNAS, which now includes Hispanic and Black college students and academic researchers.
The last meeting was in Puerto Rico. We had over 5,000 people attending. As a woman, you know what it's like to walk into a room full of men. And you're sort of always on your guard a little bit because that's still true. The same is true in science. And so this is a forum in which you can immediately feel the whole 5,000 people relaxing.
And Via Kamarov says she's proud of her research. She was part of a team that discovered you could produce insulin from bacteria.
And that opened up an enormous industry. That's where the biotech industry started.
And she and another researcher found if you expose a protein linked to Alzheimer's disease to nerve cells, it will destroy them.
And that was the first direct proof that amyloid could have a detrimental effect on nervous cells.
But she's also proud of being a mentor.
I've had people years later come up to me and say, I'm still in science because of you. Or I stayed in science because of you.
Now 75, Lydia Via Kamarov is still working to make science more inclusive.
A lot of kids think that they can't be a scientist because they don't know anybody who's a scientist. And that's why I think programs like the one you're doing is so important. If you work hard and if you really love something, then you will make a success of it.
And so for that 9-year-old that might be catching this story, what would you say?
Oh, go for it, girl. Definitely go for it.
And Via Kamarov encourages young scientists to create a support network around them. It could be your friends, it could be your family, it could be mentors in the field. And she says when you start to doubt yourself, they will be the ones that will have your back and remind you that you have what it takes to succeed. And Christine, really critical for kids who might be first-generation graduates, you know, from college or high school, to really have that support around them and to have these accomplished scientists like her, you know, encouraging them on.
I was going to say, what an inspiration she is, and her story is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Beth.